this is Joy with Everyday Cricut, and today is Wildcard Wednesday. Actually, we're going to be featuring cards from Just Because Cards for the next, well, I'd say month or so. We've been already featuring, I think we've had 3 or 4 weeks of them already, and these cards are just so cute. It's just a lot of fun. Today's paper is from the Max & Whiskers paper line from Basic Gray, and I just thought it would be perfect for this little Doggone Good card. I cut this little guy out, and I thought he was just really fun. And then inside I have another one. So let's get started making this. Hi, the first thing we need to do to get started with this project is go ahead and ink all the edges. I have cut this card at 5.5. It's the card located on page 37 of the handbook called Doggone Good. And cut the card at 5.5, cut the dog and all the layers at 5.5, so there's 3 layers. Also cut the tabby part, which is the shift dog, which is that yellow piece in the picture, at 5.5. This circle was cut at 3.25, and then the larger circle at 3.5. And I used the sticker function for that. And then the striped piece you see was cut just a 1/4 inch smaller than the actual card turns out to be, which measurements I do not have right in front of me, but you'll find out when you cut the card at 5.5. I think it comes out to be like 5.5 by 4, and then everything goes down by 1/4 to cut that striped piece. Now here's my favorite glue, Scotch Quick Dry Glue. Also, I do not like the clear Scotch glue. I happen to like this white glue. I haven't had good luck with the others. Now I am layering on the dog on top of there's 2 layers in layer 1, a regular one and then a shift one, and I've layered them. And it's mostly for sturdiness because you actually don't really see much through. And then he's mounted on a shadow. You can see the shadow is pretty thick, and oh, there's the benefits of those fingernails to wipe off that glue. Paper I'm using, again, is Basic Gray's Max & Whiskers paper, and that's what the dog's cut out of there. That's why he's got kind of a mottled look to him. He's got some accessories you'll see here in a second when I finish picking at this glue. He's got a collar, and then he's also got another little circular piece that I decided was the nose, and so I cut it in red. But I don't know if that's really what it's supposed to be, but it looked good to me. So I made a little red collar, and then you'll see I'll put the little red nose on here in a second. As far as the eye goes, I drew on the eye, but I didn't draw him on camera because it's hard to work around the camera. So later on, when you see the pictures, you'll notice he has an eye, but I didn't put one on here. So there's that story. I didn't want to mess it up on camera in case I had to redo. Here's the word art, and it is under the word feature key. And again, the tweezers I'm using are called Tweezer Bees. Tammy told me about them. Tammy was with us on Christmas with the Cricut, and she swears by them, and they are incredible. You can sometimes find them at Michael's. They're on Amazon.com. Just do a search for Tweezer Bee. Now I have a little piece of an accent piece here, and I went ahead, and you'll see in a minute, this isn't the best part of the video, unfortunately. I'm sorry. I'm off the mat a little bit, but I went ahead and used a Stampin' Up! Scallop punch to get that edge. And you'll see it in a minute on the red piece. There we go. Now it's kind of in frame here. And I just use that for the bottom part of my card just to give it a little something. A little kind of decorative piece. That was the same thing I was kind of doing with the circular pieces, as I wanted to kind of, I don't know, have a little extra instead of just Doggone Good in the dog and then it's just sitting on the card. So I wanted a little bit more. So that's kind of what's going on there. Again, a lot of massaging with these things and a little adjusting, if you will, to get that just right. Then I went ahead and I used a white Uniball Signo, maybe it's Signo Uniball pen to add some stitching and some dots. I learned this trick from Melanie, who's probably now wishing she never told me. But I used it on everything because it just adds so much. It adds so much to the project. So I highly recommend this type of white pen for you because it just does a beautiful job. It really does. As you can see, I'm not super precise, but then I don't sew super precise either, so to me it all goes together. Are you guys buying that? I don't know. Anyway, now time for assembly. Again, the circles were cut from the sticker. I do want to tell you I had to cut the circles at different sizing than the card went because the sticker and the stencil feature keys do not relate to the sizes of the cards and the rest of the things. So what does that really mean, Joy? Can you tell me that again? On this cartridge, when you set a size for a card, and a good size to set, by the way, is like 5.5, just so you know. When you do that, that means the card will cut at 5.5, the inside yellow piece, which I'll be adhering in a minute, cuts at 5.5, the dog cuts at 5.5, the Doggone good cuts at 5.5. You don't change anything. But once you get over all the layers cut at 5.5, the shadow cuts at 5.5. Boom. Once you get over to the sticker and the stencil function keys, that does not hold true. That will actually cut a 5.5-inch circle. It will not automatically readjust. So that is why I cut these circles at 3.25 and 3.5. That is actual true size. So just so you know that. Now I'm going to go ahead and put this inside piece in here. And here's something to know about this inside piece that later on in the video we'll talk a bit more about. It extends past the edge of the card. And what does that mean? It means you better think about the envelope size. And I'll explain a little bit more. This little doggy is the inside part of the sticker feature key. And I cut out, I was going to use the sticker on something, so I cut it at 2 inches. And then I decided not to. So I had a little doggy left. And I thought it was too cute. Actually, I had 2 of them left because I tried a few times. So there you go. Now, here's my envelope. You need to cut your envelope for this card. If you put that inside piece in, do not cut this envelope at 5 inches. You need to cut it at, or 5.5, I'm sorry. You need to cut it at 6 inches. Really important to do that. Now, what's important to know is I used the envelope on page 66. It's the peach. It's called like peach. That's its name. And why I used it is it's the most versatile of all the envelopes available on this cartridge because it will cut out on a 12 by 12 inch paper. The rest of them want to cut on larger papers. They all want 12 by 24. But this one will take a 12 inch by 12 inch paper. So I highly recommend it for all your envelope needs. Here I'm just going to go ahead and decorate the front of the envelope. I've just got a couple of pieces. I use some craft paper and then some more of that Max and Whiskers, and I just go ahead and ink the edges. The little marquee cut there is actually a new punch you can get at Joann's by EK Success. And then I've gone ahead and glued on my extra little doggy from before. And this is just going to provide a little something on the front of the envelope. Obviously, you wouldn't do this if you're going to mail the envelope, but this is if you're going to hand it to a friend or whatever. Then you could go ahead and decorate the front up and just make it look like a little something something. My ribbon is from Paper Tray Ink, and what I like to do is just use my ATG and lay down a strip of glue and then stick the ribbon on there, and then do the same on the back and fold the edges over. That's typically how I do things, because then the ribbon really sticks down. So that's really good if you need really sticky ribbon. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed it, and stay tuned. Thanks for watching.